Hi, welcome to Garter Shows. Today we have part 5 of the Artemis II splashdown video. So now they're coming to pick these dudes up. I mean, they're going to come pick these astronauts up and get them back to the ship. And this is basically over.
The politics of the time and the mission at the time was different, and so they had to go straight to the moon and bring people home, and then after that the program kind of lost its momentum. But you know, after that NASA kept moving along those paths, right? So we recognized during Apollo that reusability was going to be important. We spent a lot of money on those machines, and you know, we spent a lot of money on these machines here. Even though, but we recognized that reusability was important, which is why we built a winged space plane called Space Shuttle. And then we used that reusable machine to build a space station. And we learned for 25 years how to live and work in space, and have been able to develop technologies that can enable exploration. So really, what I think is now, 53 years later, we're at the point where the architects of Apollo would have been pleased that we're now ready to actually go back to the moon and go back to stay, because we've learned all the things we needed to learn.
There's a lot of people pleased here tonight, and we really thank you for joining us. Amit Shatria, NASA's Associate Administrator, as we begin to hoist the crew onto the helicopters to head back to the recovery ship. Thank you very much, and congratulations, Amit.
Man, this is just like watching like some actual military footage from like a movie. Trying to get this live streaming camera to just cooperate for once and exactly. There we go.
This is Mission Control Houston, with the crew members now beginning to be hoisted aboard the Navy helicopters. Let's go to Megan Cruz aboard the USS John P. Murtha, who will take it from here.
Hey Bob, yeah, back on the bow of the ship here, we are seeing the helicopters circling Orion, the first one there, having just completed picking up the first astronaut. Kilo 2 now, hovering just 40 feet above the front porch, lowering a recovery specialist out of the helicopter. That person will touch down in the front porch just there.
Man, that is so cool to look at. That is so weird, man. The way those waves are.
The crew members already outfitted with a harness that will allow them to quickly attach to the hoisting device. Look at the power of those blades throwing water out at the center there. The front porch with now 3 astronauts and the recovery specialists. Again, crews already outfitted with a harness vest. And here we go. Second astronaut now off the front porch, getting hoisted into the second helicopter.
Man, these astronauts are always in the air. Whether outer space or just in a helicopter.
That helicopter will now hover just a distance away to give room for the first helicopter to come back and pick up the third astronaut. As we wait for that helicopter to come back, make its way back around.
You would have almost thought that they would have just used the boat to pick them up, but yeah.
Called our NASA administrator today while he was on the ship, just minutes after we interviewed him live on our coverage, and congratulated him and NASA on this history-making moment tonight. Helicopter 1 again hovering 40 feet over the front porch. We will soon see another recovery specialist getting lowered onto the front porch. Well, imagine sitting on that front porch, the wind, the water. But again, the recovery team determined that a helicopter flight back to the ship here would be safer, faster, and more comfortable for our crew, who just completed a 10-day mission around the moon. Third astronaut in the air, getting hoisted quickly back into the first helicopter now. That first helicopter now on its way back to the ship here. We will soon see it land in just a few minutes. Again, all this action happening just 3,000 yards away from us, so a very quick flight back to the flight deck. Now the only person left on the front porch, Commander Reed Wiseman. That second helicopter now making its way back over to the front porch. Here it comes. Making its final approach here.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm talking about, man. A successful outer space mission. I'm gonna be honest, man, that is really cool. Humans have, it's been a long time since we've orbited Earth.
Commander Reed Wiseman now off the front porch and almost into the second helicopter. Both now on their way back to the ship where we are, the USS John P. Murtha.
I can't, well, you know what, I'm just happy that this went well. This is really great. It's been a long time, but we're finally back and we're going to make a colony on the moon. Yeah, look at that, man. Now that is what I call innovation and just... Ooh.
Exciting to see our 4 crew members minutes away from landing on the flight deck here on the recovery ship. 550 people on this ship, excited, ready, anxious, looking forward to welcoming this crew aboard.
This is the big part, guys. This is the part that we've all been waiting for.
Watching them now with our own eyes. Close to the ship here.
Man. Sure, right, that was quick.
Hearing them begin to hover on the flight deck, which is just across from us, here on the bow.
There it is.
The first
There it is, guys.
coming in.
That's what I'm talking about.
Wheels down.
Bam.
Wheels down of the first helicopter carrying 2 of our Artemis II crew. Pilot Victor Glover and mission specialist Christina Cook.
Mm-hmm.
Kilo 1 on deck reported on the recovery loop. Again, the mission audio loops
I thought they would have both landed.
that the recovery team are using here to communicate with one another. And an announcement just made on the ship, integrity incoming. 2 more helicopters on their way to the flight deck, one carrying the crew, the other, one of our imagery helicopters. Again, kudos to our imagery and aerial teams for giving us these beautiful views of history in the making. Set amid a gorgeous, soon-to-be sunset here.
Man, that is a beautiful warship right there, man. That thing is big, too. It's enormous.
Second helicopter. Making its approach of the flight deck. plenty of people here on the bow with their cell phones out, filming this moment.
Yeah, I wish I could have been over there. That would have been the ultimate vacation plan. That is what I'm talking about.
Some impressive flying here by the Navy.
It is.
As we are seconds away from wheels down. And there you go. We now have all 4 Artemis II crew members.
They did it, man.
On the
It'd be
USS
even crazy if they
John
showed the
P.
boat going back to the coast. I mean, going back to land. They did it.
So they're happy to be out of the water.
And I've been watching the streams like all day. I've been waiting for this to happen.
On this recovery
When I woke
ship,
up, I turned it on and we
550
started watching.
people on board. Ready
I've been
to
watching it.
welcome them
In
home.
fact, I've been like keeping track of this mission since like day 2.
Making sure the crew feel good. We reported that they were feeling good when they were in Orion, but those were just initial, quick, verbal assessments of how they're feeling. The destination tonight, the medical bay here on the ship.
Alright, they're gonna do it all
Right
on the ship.
after the
These
power
ships are
down
just like
power
moving
package
cities
there.
on water. Pretty cool. It's as big as a soccer field, it seems.
The team on the flight deck working quickly but methodically. Waiting for just one more helicopter to touch down.
At least they got everyone on. There it is. I'm happy, like, with all this advanced technology, we were even able to get some high-quality videos from space and 24/7 coverage of the mission.
Very limited personnel here on the flight
Really
deck.
great, man. It's really great.
As that third helicopter touches down. While just a few folks on the flight deck itself, there are plenty more on some upper decks. This is some of our views. A very tight
This is going to be one of YouTube's most historic moments. For this 24/7 stream. This should be what YouTube is always remembered for.
Reminding folks to stay clear of operational areas like the flight deck, so that teams can work quickly to get the crew off of the helicopters and into the medical bay. Splashdown today, 5:06 p.m. Pacific time. We are within 2 hours of that splashdown time, and already we have all 4 crew members on the flight deck of the USS John P. Murtha. Again, crew waiting before getting out for the helicopters to completely shut down.
Yeah, these ships, man, they make the Titanic look small.
Safety, of course, very important to NASA and the U.S.
It's
military.
literally a city in the water. And these things cost like, I think millions or billions of dollars to make.
So we'll wait just a
They're
couple
really
minutes here
expensive
before we
too.
start seeing crew members walk off the helicopters one by one. All right,
There's the
and
first
now
astronaut.
here we see pilot Victor Glover
Victor Glover, alright.
and mission specialist Christina Cook sitting on the edge of one of the helicopters, looking in great spirits.
You know what, these military ships, they look really slow, but I'm looking at the water right there. It's going really fast.
Christina, I'm sure, feeling
Crazy.
the same way, just blocked a little bit by our camera here, but we'll see her here shortly. A photographer taking their pictures.
Yeah, if I was a part of the press, I could get on here, man.
Folks on the flight deck, they look like they're in great spirits. Happy to be home, I'm sure. If you're sitting at home, I hope you too are wondering, what would you want to ask them if you got a chance to talk to them, because that is what I'm thinking about.
I don't really know.
Getting the
I've seen a lot of
opportunity
stuff.
to talk to or ask questions of these 4 astronauts who just made history.
I don't know, what was it like?
To return to the moon
Zero gravity feel like?
since
What does it feel like?
1972.
What does it feel like to be in that capsule and it's coming down? Or what it feels like to go up into outer space? Because that stuff, the G-force is crazy, man.
Oh, there we see Christina.
Are they putting a
there,
military
also
helmet
smiling.
on Glover now?
Peering out, waving at the cameras. Hello to you too, Christina, yes? Welcome back. Welcome, welcome home.
What a great sight to see, man.
A loudspeaker announcement on the ship saying, "Welcome home, Integrity." Victor in great spirits. I can't see who he's talking to, but I kind of think that he might be talking to his other 2 crew members. Shouting from across the flight deck, congratulations to one another. And so now we see some Navy personnel walking up to the helicopter. This is again the first helicopter carrying pilot Victor Glover and mission specialist Christina Cook. Both have taken off their helmets now. Some pictures, video, to catalog this historic moment. A beautiful sunset just behind them here in the Pacific Ocean. Golden hour. These pictures will be beautiful. Now we see NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman. He is on the flight deck, as well as Flight Surgeon Rick Shuring. Walking over to Victor and Christina first. We saw the administrator walk over to the other helicopter, which is carrying Commander Reed Weissman and Mission Specialist Jeremy Hansen. We heard from Rick earlier in the broadcast. Again, he said he's going to be out there on the flight deck to do another initial assessment of the crew, ask them how they're feeling, anything bothering them. But again, from what I'm seeing, they look like they're in great spirits and feeling pretty good. Folks who just traveled 695,000 miles from Florida to the moon and now here to the Pacific Ocean.
We'll be blacking out.
We're now seeing NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman walking across the flight deck. He had been talking to Reed and Jeremy, now approaching Victor and Christina. A hug from Victor, a hug from Christina. What a moment that we're getting to experience together. I'm sure congratulatory words. You know, we got to speak to the administrator live on this broadcast as well, and he said the kid in him right now, giddy, absolutely giddy.
I do not know what that means.
at what we were able to accomplish
Why don't they explain what that means?
today. Returning them home safely and in good spirits after a 10-day mission around the moon. And here we go. We're seeing Jeremy walking, waving across the flight deck, now on his way to the medical bay. It's a short walk, less than a minute. Again, that's why the recovery team decided to use helicopters to get them on the flight deck for that short walk to medical bay. And now on the flight deck, we see the chief of the astronaut office, Scott Tingle, Rick Shuring switching places. He's going over to the other helicopter. Big hugs from Victor, Christina to Scott. Again, gorgeous sunset, setting the stage for this recovery tonight.
Yeah, I can see the reflection. Pretty cool, man. Well, I like this angle.
All right. And now here we are, Christina, making her way, looking thankful, grateful, happy to be home. You can see she's looking up again. Lots of people, just a few levels up off the flight deck, welcoming her home. Scott holding the door like a gentleman, but back on his way to the other crew still on the flight deck.
It'd be cool to have my own ship that's big.
So still on the flight deck.
Well, my action camera, the black one, is starting to,
And
it is received, it is showing me that it's about to die. So the live stream camera will be blacked out for a couple seconds.
More hugs, more hugs. He's a hugger. Victor looking good as he walks across the flight deck. NASA administrator applauding. Victor applauding for all the folks on the ship with him who played a role in their safe return today. Finally, just one Artemis II crew member left on the flight deck, Commander Reed Weissman. Applause from the group there on the flight deck, I'm sure, as well as on the level just above them, packed with people. Reed looking good as he takes his steps towards the medical bay.
What now?
Here are 4 Artemis II crew members back on the ship. Again, now they will head into medical bay, where they will be assessed by flight surgeons from both NASA as well as the Canadian Space Agency. A more in-depth assessment.
NASA surgeons aren't enough for Canada. They'll get their own surgeons to check up on their own person.
They will each have their own nurse.
So
They will be helped out of their suits.
Well, this was a successful mission, everyone.
Check to see that they're feeling good. Make sure it's not just adrenaline, but that they are feeling good from their long journey back from the moon. Beautiful shot of that sunset illuminating our flight deck.
Well, I think this is where it ends.
All right, and now they're astronauts safely on board. I want to welcome on Artemis Recovery Director Lily Villarreal. Lily, I don't know how you must be feeling right now. Ecstatic.
Alright, our coverage stops here. Well, I hope you enjoyed the show. Please grab more car shows, and I'll see you next time on car shows. Bye.
To have the crew here on the ship and in Memphis.